All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about enums and computed properties. And let's get right into it. I hope that you got a chance to review the last few videos. If you haven't, go back and check out the beginning of the tutorial series. I put it into a playlist. Anyway, let's go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is enums. And what I want to do is provide you an example of how we're going to make a coffee machine programmatically, of course. Not necessarily a coffee machine, but a machine that makes drinks. And we're going to do it with strings first, and then I'm going to show you why enums is a better way of creating our drink machine. Let's start out with an example. First off, we need a function because we want to make some kind of machine that does some kind of action whenever we call it. What we will do is this. We're going to say func make drink. And just to start this off, I want to explain that the reason why I named this function make drink is because a lot of times you'll have a function, you want it to do something for you. So typically functions are named as verbs or describing some kind of action that it's going to perform. So this make drink function is going to accept one parameter, chosen drink, which is going to be of type string. And depending on what this drink is, we're going to do something special. We're going to print out different things for different drinks. So we can say if drink is equal to coffee, then we will print your hot drink is ready. Else, if drink equals iced tea, we will print your cold drink is ready. Else, print, and we can use interpolation, your drink cannot be made. Or your drink is not available. There we go. And I did else, but I didn't put it inside of the curly braces, so let's do that. Tip for you, you can actually move a line of code up, or a few lines. If you have a few lines selected, you can actually move that line of code up by holding down Command Option and using the square brackets for up and down. There we go. Looks good. So now we can actually call this method and try it out. So if I were to call make drink, as you can see, it populates for us. I can say, use my quotation marks, and I can say coffee. And let's look at the print statement down below in the gutter. It says your hot drink is ready. And I can do exclamation mark on that. Okay, and if I put something else in here like water, it says your water is not available. Every place should have water, but so you get the idea. You could just as easily have a parameter that is string of type string, and you can do an if statement to say if it's this, do this, if it's that, do that, and so on and so forth. But what if your company that is selling drinks or making drinks only has a certain type of drink available, and you want to streamline this process really fast, and you want to make sure that there are no spelling errors or anything like that involved? That is where enums can come into play. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my function here, copy this, and I'm going to minimize this. And I have a nice little section called Enums here where we're going to practice our Enums. And down here, I'm going to paste my function, and I'm going to get rid of everything inside. Well, let's just comment it out for now. And up above, we're going to make our first enum. So we go enum, and enums are going to be capitalized. This is kind of like a preferred style. You don't have to make them capitalized. This is just like a syntax thing. Our enum is going to be drink. Now, this is going to contain a lot of different drinks, but the reason why I named it drink is because enum represents a type. So you're going to be choosing one of the types that are included in this list that we're going to list out. So there are certain cases that we're going to write out, and those cases are going to be the list of selected types that we can select. So for example, we'll go case, and your case names are usually lowercase. Coffee. One case is coffee, another case is water, another case is ice, tea, and then another case may be a beer. There we go. All right, and this is what a enum looks like, a basic enum. So basically what we're saying is there's a drink that exists, and it's got different types that we've created. And we have a coffee type, a water type, a iced tea type, and we have a beer type. And so if we go down to our function, let's fix it up a little bit. Instead of string, we are going to use our new created type called drink. Hopefully you're kind of seeing where I'm going here. You can create your own custom types here. We have string, we have all these other ones, but this is a great way to keep track of your own custom types. And so here we have this long if statement. I'm going to show you a new type of loop called a switch statement. Okay. So I'm going to make a note up here that this is also switch. Our switch is going to be something I include in here. All right. So a switch statement operates very similar to an if statement. However, it is just simply switching off of one object that can have different cases for it. So let me show you what I mean. If I go switch, Apple is trying to give me a recommendation. I'm going to show you what Apple's looks like. If I were to hit return, it says a switch statement needs a value, and then it will switch off of different patterns here. So what we're going to do is switch off of drink. Remember, that is our parameter up here, and it's highlighting it for us. Our parameter is of type drink, and it contains many different types. We're switching off of drink. If drink is of type coffee, see how it just showed up for us there? After we start typing it in, it's expecting certain cases. If drink is of type coffee, then I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to copy and paste this here. There we go. Print, your hot drink is ready. And then we'll do another case. And this case will be water. We're going to make up a new one. This is going to be, oh, and it's giving us an error. There has to be a dot in front of your case in order for it to understand that is of an enum type and for you to specify. But it will auto fill things out for you. And one more case we have is iced tea. Now, we could easily type iced tea in here, but what if you have like a lot of different cases? You could always type default, And you can say, this is basically like saying else. If there's any other type that it ends up being, then do this. Awesome. And that is it. And I can get rid of this if statement here. This is a long if statement, no longer needed. And now if we were to call our make drink function, now notice it's asking us to provide a drink type. So we can do that by just using dot notation. We hit the period on the keyboard, and then we can choose beer, for example. And then down below, it'll print out, make sure you do not drive home, take a taxi. So that is an example. You could also switch this up and type in coffee, and it autofills for you. And this is the beauty of not using strings all the time in order to check for different cases. There are some occasions where you will need to hard code values in, but it is preferred not to create hard-coded values. You always want to make sure that there's only one place that you need to go in to actually type in what you need for particular values. And we'll get more into that in the future, but what I want you to understand is that an enum is a custom type that you create, and you're providing different cases for it. Now, the next thing is computed properties. Computer properties, we know what properties are. You have var and let, and that is a way for you to store values into a constant or a variable. That way it can be called later, or you can do something with it later. What we are going to do is create a computed property, which sounds really complicated, but it's very easy. It just means that instead of you deciding right then and there that the value for the property is going to be whatever you want, you can say, based on the conditions, it will compute what the value should be later. So let's go down here and make an example of this. Let's do this inside of an enum because it's a great place to put computed properties, and it'll make more sense in a second. Let's make an RPG enum here. Maybe we'll call it character class. Character class. Okay, so we have our enum called character class, and one of the cases is going to be mage. Another case is going to be rogue. Rogue, and then case, we are going to do knight. And that's good for now. Now inside of here, you may want to decide what weapon a particular RPG character should have based on their choice. So what we're going to do is create a computed property called weapon of choice. And for now, this will be of type string. I know I just got done mentioning that you don't want too many hard-coded values, but let's do a switch statement, and we're going to switch off of self. Now, this is a new concept here. Anytime you call self, basically it is looking at the self. Whatever object it's inside of is what self is referring to. So in the future, we're definitely gonna use this again a lot. But right now we're inside of the character class enum, and when we type self, as you can see over here on the side, it's saying that self is character class. So I'm gonna do self, open up the brackets, and start listing out my conditions. If in case self is mage, then return Cain. Mystical Cain. maybe it's with y. Let me double check here. There we go. If in case is a knight, return greatsword. And last but not least, if in case rogue, we will say return bow and arrow. Wooden bow and arrow. There we go. All right, so this should be good. So this is our computed property. Now notice I also introduced something else that's new, which is return. Well, not really actually. In one of our previous videos, we talked about returning values inside of a function. So some functions we have, like for example, our make drink, we could have said we want a return type of string, and we want to return a string like this, return instead. But we didn't go that route. So return just means that at the end of this property will represent whatever is returned. Okay, and for each one of these cases, it will return a specific thing. So let's see how this works. If we open up our gutter here, we can store a new property. We can say let new character equal character class dot knight, and we can say print open the quotation marks, and we can say print my new character's weapon of choice is, we use string interpolation again, and we'll type in new character dot weapon of choice. So let me erase that and show you exactly what happened there. We had made a new character property which stores character class dot knight, and so all we had to do was call our new character, which is a character class, but it is of type knight, and we could say weapon of choice dot weapon of choice, and then that gives us my new character's weapon of choice is greatsword. And I'll probably say the greatsword. Period. Awesome. So that is a computed property where you do some things inside of the brackets. Basically, the syntax for this is you use a var or let. You will name the property, and we use a colon just like before. We decide what is going to be returned, what data type this property is going to be. We open up the curly braces, and inside we do our business, and then we return what the result is going to be. Now this could have been an if statement, it could have been some other things, some other conditions. I'm sure we'll be faced with those types of situations in the future, but for now, this was the example I wanted to provide for you. So that was the video. I want to keep it as short as possible. We went over enums. We actually included switches in here, switch statements, computed properties, and we even got a chance to call those and see what it looks like. So that is awesome. We're making some big ground here. In the next video, hopefully we'll get to go over classes. And until then, if you have any questions, go ahead and use the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you have. Like, subscribe, put on some notifications, because I'm going to be uploading more of these tutorials in the future, especially if you're looking into possibly game development in the future. I'd like to do some sprite kit tutorials. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and have a good one.